Hey YouTube, it's me Shayna at decompressing and welcome back to my channel. As you guys can see, I am home. I am back from my glorious 7-day cruise with MSC Cruises. If you do not know, if you have not watched my vlogs, side eye, you know that I was on a 7-day cruise in the Caribbean with MSC Cruises, and we were on the MSC Divina. We traveled to Jamaica, Bahamas, Cozumel, and Cayman Islands. So all the vlogs are going to be going up, or they probably should be up. Who knows? I don't even know. This video is my tips for first-time cruisers. This was actually my very first cruise ever. So there are a lot of things that I kind of learned while on the go on the boat. So I figured, why not come and sit down with you guys now that I'm home? And I kind of collected all my thoughts, my feelings, my ideas that I had while on board so that I can share these tips and ideas with those of you who are getting ready to go on your first cruise, or just in general. I do believe that a lot of these tips are universal, depending regardless of what cruise line you are cruising with. For the most part, they're about the same, but these are my ideas, the tips that I kind of came up with. If you have anything or any ideas that you would like to share, feel free to put them in the comment section below. If you are a veteran cruiser, if you are no longer a rookie cruiser and you have some tips and tricks, please feel free to put them in the comment section below. But if you would like to hear what I have to say, stick around. So the first tip I have is take your time while on board. Now, these boats are massive. I know when I first got on board, the first thing I wanted to do was like see literally everything. These boats are very, very big. So when you get on board, just take your time. Like for MSC Divina, we got on board, they had lunch ready for us. So we were able to just go to the buffet, you're eating, kind of relax, because it is a lot just getting to the boat itself, getting on the boat itself. So you want to kind of just take your time. And you don't have to rush to see everything. Depending upon how long you're on the boat, you'll have enough time to see everything. And the MSC Divina that I was on was 16 decks. It was a very, very massive ship. Walking from one end to the next took about 15 to 20 minutes, depending upon how fast you walked. So there is a lot to see while you're on board. So take your time. Like, you know, maybe the first day you'll see maybe the front half of the boat. The second day, maybe the second half of the boat. Like it's so many places you can go. There's so many shops and pools and gym. Like there's so many things that are packed onto these boats. So do not feel like you have to go immediately and see everything. It will become very, very overwhelming if you are not careful. Because I wanted to see the whole boat that Saturday when I got on board, knowing full and well I was tired and they had just fed us. When I got up the next day on Sunday, we were at sea all day. So I decided, let me take some time here, and I figured out where my room was in relation to everything else on the boat. Trust me, I promise you're gonna see everything. Before you know it, you're gonna know where everything is on the boat and how to get there. So take your time once you're on board. Really just give your time to like process where everything is. Learn where your room is in relation to other things on the boat, like how do you get to and from the restaurants, and where your food's gonna be, and where the pool is, what's the closest elevator. Like just take time to learn the boat. You have time to do it, I promise you. So my first tip is take your time once you're on board. Tip number 2, your cruise card is your life. Okay, this thing is your life. Not only is this your key to get in and out of your stateroom, this is your entire identity on board. Anytime you are getting on and off the boat at your ports of call, they have to scan this. Anything you're doing on board, whether it's a gym class or food, every bar, this is your entire identity. You do not want to lose this. I would most certainly put it somewhere where you're always gonna have access to it. I know most cruises, they do it like in their little like logo shop or whatever. They have like the lanyards that you can put these in, so that way you have it around your neck at all times. It does state all your information. It has your name. It has obviously, well, it doesn't have your room number actually, but it has your name. It has a date in which you are sailing. It has your assembly station. Your assembly station is if there is a case of emergency and you have a certain letter listed here. This is particularly for MSC, but you have a letter listed here, and that's where you would assemble. So everybody that has F, I had F, we would all assemble in the same place. They tell you what deck you're on, the name of the deck, and then you have the internet ID number. So I'll get into a later tip, but you do have an internet ID number. It lists your your dinner seating. You do sit with the same people every day on the MSC Divina if you choose not to go to the buffet for dinner, and it has your table number. So this is a card you do not want to lose. Your cruise card is literally your entire life on that boat. Like, nothing you can, everything you do to make sure who you are is through this card. When you actually arrive at the port, when you receive your card, they do take a picture of you, so that way when they scan you on and off the boat, you match your picture and then you go about your way. So that way no random ass people are coming on and off your boat. Boop. So do keep track of your cruise card. Everything happens through this cruise card right here. Now, I mentioned in the last tip that everything goes through your cruise card. So what does that mean? I've heard people say this before, but now it makes more sense. There are no cash or credit transactions that happen on cruise ships. That is not a thing. What you actually do is, once you arrive on board, they usually give you about 24 hours to figure out how you're gonna do this, but you personally or your family can put down a certain amount of money and make this a prepaid card, or you could put down your own personal debit or credit card, and every time you swipe, that money comes out of your debit or credit card. Or if you put down a certain amount of cash, every time you swipe, the cash will come out, the price will come out of the cash that you left there. So it's like you have your own little bank account on board. There are no cash transactions. So anything you buy on board, you're not gonna reach into your bag for cash or for your American Express card, your MasterCard, your debit card, whatever. You do not buy anything on that boat with those types of payments. Everything has to go through your cruise card. This is what I suggest. If you are traveling with like your husband or your wife or boyfriend or girlfriend and your kids or whatever, you can do like a joint family account where it's under one person's card, but all four of you can tap that same account or however many is on that account. That's a high possibility. I personally, if you are traveling with your girlfriends or if you are traveling with like extended family, I would highly suggest that you take your own personal money or your own personal debit card and do your own thing. Because what's going to happen is, if you're all are sharing an account and they go to the casino and they rack up $80 worth of charges, or they drink more than you do and you all end up having to pay at the end when you're settling your account, you may end up coming out of your pocket a lot more than you actually paid for. So I would highly suggest that if you are traveling with extended family or it's just like friends, I say just go do things on your own. Like, take your own little bit of money so that way at the end of everything, you know what you spent. You're not out there trying to figure out, well, who had this and who had that and who did this and who did that, because you're gonna end up coming out of pocket a lot more than you originally intended. And even if you start to run low, like let's say you put $150 down and you realize that you only got like 40 bucks left and you got 3 more days on board, you can always go back and add money. So that's only for cash transactions. You can always go back and add your money. The last tip to that is if you put down cash, whatever you don't spend, you will get back when you leave. So if you put down 200, you only spend 100, you'll get that extra 100 back because you didn't spend it. So for cash transactions, whatever you don't spend, you will receive back. The next thing I want to talk about, which was a huge question a lot of you actually asked while I was gone, is how was I able to post on Instagram? What is Wi-Fi on board? Okay, so I did purchase a Wi-Fi internet package on board. MSC Divina had 3 level packages. You had the very basic, which was just social media, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I think Snapchat, but Snapchat was a little wonky, so I didn't really use Snapchat. Then the second tier was all the social media, web browsing, and email. The third tier, which I believe that one was like 80 bucks, that was all of the, social media, web browsing, email, as well as video streaming. So if you have kids and you want to keep them occupied a couple, if they don't feel like being in the water and they're gonna get bored and you really want to just have them watch their Netflix, you might want to consider getting that internet package. It's for the entire week you're on board, so it's not like 80 bucks a day. It's for the entire time that you're on board. The first tier, I do believe that was like $20 or like 30 bucks. The second tier, which was actually the package that I bought, was $44, which gave me, like I said, all the social media, email, and web browsing. So that did work out for me. Now the thing with that was, and again, this is only for my experience on MSC Divina, but it did not work in my room because I was at the very, very front of the boat, which actually I did not mind. I did like having the opportunity to unplug and kind of just take in the water and the ocean and the air and just kind of relax in my room. And most of the time, by that time, I was dead and just going to sleep. So there's that. But I did get the most of the service was in any public areas of the boat. So at any of the pools, at dinner, at the buffet, anywhere where there's public areas. Now, if you are somebody that is heavy with social media, you're going to be a bit frustrated because it is very slow. It's satellite Wi-Fi. It is not broadband like we're used to here in the States or when you're home. So it's going to move a bit slower, and it's not everything's going to be like super fast. It took a bit for my post to load, which I'm not totally mad about. If I'm in the middle of the ocean and God's nowhere, I cannot expect things to be like super high speed like I'm used to at home. The fact that I even had internet is like huge, so I take it. So if you are somebody that's going to be using social media on the boat, do look into what internet packages your cruise line does offer. Like I said, but as long as you can get on, just go for it, okay? And most of the time, it's probably not going to work in your actual stateroom. It will be best once you get to like any public areas of your boat. It may be a little bit slow, but you know what? We can deal with it. It's all cool. It's all gravy. You got internet. You can post, you can fly, and do it for the gram. So there's that. Another major question that I got from a lot of people actually once I got home was, do you feel the boat moving while you're on board? And this is actually good. If you are somebody that gets seasick, you could just pop a Dramamine. I think you'll be okay. But I will say for the most part, 95% of the trip, I did not feel the boat. You really, honestly, these boats are so massive, you really won't feel a lot of movement. Now, it also depends on the weather and the water. I think it may have been Tuesday when we were traveling towards Jamaica, or we had just left Jamaica going towards Cayman. The boat was a little rocky, like you felt. It was a little much. But that's also because the water was much more choppier and a little bit rough. So you're gonna feel the boat a little bit, but for the most part, I honestly can say that I didn't feel the boat at all. I had my tripod on the boat and it was just as stable as it wanted to be. So you're not gonna feel the boat a lot. There were times where like I was in my room, you could feel it shift just a bit, or if you're in a certain area of the boat, you can kind of feel it move, but it's not gonna be to the point where you are gonna be like, oh my God, let me hold on. It's not like that. These boats are so massive, you're really not going to feel it. Now, if you are sensitive, who knows? I don't know. But pop a Dramamine, you'll be okay. Okay, the next thing, which was also my thing when I left, was excursions. Now, we all want to plan excursions when we go on cruises. Everybody wants to know what you did you go anywhere, blah, 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 blah. I personally did not plan any excursions for this particular trip because excursions get very expensive very, very quickly. A lot of the excursions the cheapest excursion I was able to find, like I saw, like I was looking online, was like $40. Now everything goes up from there. If you are traveling with more than one person, your prices are per person. I've seen a lot of these excursions were $100 per person, $95 per person. If you're traveling with 4 people, that's $400 right there. So it's they get very, very expensive. I mean, if you want to do excursion at every port, knock yourself out. It's your coin, do what you want to do. But I don't think you have to do an excursion everywhere. And this is my thinking in terms of excursions. I would not pay for excursions that take you to a beach. Because the second you get off at a lot of these ports, there are tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of taxis and tours that'll take you to a damn beach. Or a lot of these beaches are of walking distance, or you can get a $4 cab to these same beaches that are charging you X amount of dollars for the excursion. Like, you don't have to pay for a beach excursion. That does not make any sense. That's a waste of money. When you get off them boats, they're gonna be tours that are available to that. They're gonna charge you maybe $20 a person. They're gonna be taxis that say, oh, we're going to X and Y beach. It's $4 to get there. Like, case in point, when we went to Cayman, the thing to do was to go to 7 Mile Beach. Now, I looked online and the excursions for Cayman were somewhere in the $50 range. For a ride to Cayman, to 7 Mile Beach, one came with lunch and without lunch, one came with drink and without drink. And obviously the price fluctuated depending upon what you were getting. And I was like, okay, that's like $50. I got off the boat. Okay, got off the boat, and there was a $4 taxi. $4 took me to the beach. Beach was like $2 to get on, so that's $6 right there, $6. Got on the beach, got me a little chair and an umbrella, and bought my own drink. I was still under $50. See what I'm saying? So you don't have to pay for those type of excursions. You really, really, really don't. Do not pay for excursions in where they're the same thing in different countries. I know both Jamaica and I do believe it was Bahamas both had swimming with the dolphin excursions. I don't want to swim with dolphins or dolphins. I don't want to swim with them in Jamaica and Bahamas. Like, I just don't need to do that. So, you know, excursions are expensive. If they're things that you've never done before, then obviously, you know, go for it. Like, I've been ziplining. I don't need to pay for ziplining. I've done it before. Like, they all the same after a while. But, you know, my thing is, if you've never done it, go for it, you know, if you want to spend the money, but you don't have to pay for excursions. You really don't, because once you get off the boat, especially in these islands, they live for tourism. Jamaica was intense, like literally intense. You get off the boat and there's literally 30 people with vans, and the tourists, you know, tourists here, Dunsmore Falls here, we're going here, we're going here, $20 a person, $15 a person. Like, it really, like, they're there, they're waiting for you. Cayman was insane. The second we got off the boat in Cayman, there were, I mean, everybody had a Stingray tour, had a 7 Mile Beach tour. Like, there were tons of them. Cozumel, same thing. You going here? Do you want to go here? Do you want to go here? Do you want to go here? Taxis will take you to every single beach for like $15 for 4 people. Like, you could split that taxi ride and go right to the beach. You know what I mean? Like, Bahamas, where did we go? Yes, Bahamas the same way. The second you got out of the port area, everybody had a tour. Everybody had a ride to Atlantis, Cable Beach, Junkanoo Beach. Everybody had a taxi or a tour or something that is much cheaper than going through the cruise line. So you don't have to pay for the excursions. As soon as you get off the boat, you're gonna find somebody that can take you where you wanna go for much cheaper. Like, you already pay all this money to be on the boat. I personally am trying to spend more money to go on excursions. But this last one is not really a tip per se. It's more just an observation that I had while on board. Cruising can be very exhausting. Now, a lot of people were shocked when I said that. They're like, oh my God, but you're on a boat and you get to relax. Like, really, cruising is very, very, very exhausting. I mean, you can make it as calming as you want. Obviously, if you ain't doing nothing, you're gonna be calm as a cucumber. But cruising can be very exhausting. And I say that because there's so much that happens that they pack in a week. And for me, there's only but so much tanning I could do. Y'all know I hate to tan to begin with, first and foremost. So I cannot sit on the deck and just sit under a sun and fall asleep under the sun. I cannot do it. I don't even do it when I'm on land, so I'm not gonna do it when I'm on a boat. So it's only so much tanning that you can do. However, the boat does have tons and tons of activities for you to do. There was trivia night on the boat. Not even trivia, there was trivia every day. There was a mega Jenga challenge. There was a merengue class, a bachata class, a salsa class. There was aqua cycle. There was you can go to the spa. There were just so many things to do on board. My family, when we would get off the boat for our excursions, we're off the boat somewhere between 8:30 and 10 o'clock. And you're out and about all day. The sun is beating down on you. I don't care if you're at anybody's beach or if you're doing a tour. That sun is death. Like, it is literally, you're under the heat, under the sun all day. You're back on board somewhere between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. And by the time you get back on board, you're literally dragging yourself and whatever souvenirs you done bought, you're dragging yourself back on board. Depending upon what time your dinner seating was, you only had time to get to your room, shower, and go to dinner. Now, we had the 8:30 seat. We had the second seating, which was the later seating for dinner. And we would get on board. We would go to our rooms, kind of sit for maybe like 10 to 15 minutes. Where we would shower. I would try to do something with my face so I don't look scary, and we would try to make it to the shows on board. They had, always had like some sort of like play or musical or something happening on board, and that was always at 7 o'clock. So we would go for the 7 o'clock show. That ended about 7:45, 7:50, and be at dinner for 8:30. Dinner ran from 8:30 to 10:30 for most part, y'all talking and chit-chatting and all that. And by that point, all you want to do is go to your bed and sleep. I didn't go to no parties. Well, I did. I went to the all-white party. I did go to the all-white party. But I really didn't go out to like the clubs on board because I was just too tired. Like, and then you get up the next day and do it all over again. And with this type of heat, especially for those of us who are from parts of America who do not deal with that heat very well, it is very exhausting. Just keep in mind, like, take some time for yourself while you're on your cruise and kind of sit and settle yourself a little bit. If you happen to get back on board from an excursion early, I would take that time to run to a pool because it's going to be very quiet. Most people are off the boat at that time, so you can probably get into the pool or a hot tub or something and kind of just relax yourself a bit, relax your body a little bit. That's when I did most of my tanning, or in the pool was when people were off the boat, because it is very crowded on the decks when everybody's on board at one time. So I was able to get me a nice little chair and I sat and I hopped in the water a little bit, got wet, got back on my chair and kind of, you know, dried off and tanned, whatever. So I took that time to kind of settle myself a bit. But that is something I will suggest. You know, you don't have to do everything all at once, but take your time and take some time for yourself to relax your body, because I guarantee you, you're going to be exhausted at the end of all of it. I would absolutely travel again with MSC Cruises. It was just a great intro into the cruising lifestyle. I am very appreciative of my family, of my aunt who helped me go on this cruise. I appreciate the MSC Cruises team for my room. But this was my first cruise ever, so I really had no expectations going into it, but I can honestly say it was a fantastic trip. This is not a sponsored video by any means. They are not telling me what I have to say on camera, but this is my genuine feeling that I absolutely had an amazing time. MSC is definitely a cruise line that you all should consider. I know a lot of times we've all heard of Carnival, we all have heard of Royal Caribbean, we all have heard of Norwegian. But MSC Cruises is really a fantastic cruise line. For me, I had never heard of them prior to this cruise, but probably that's because they are a European cruise line that we don't see them very much here in the north. You have to go, they really only port out of Miami here in the States. But they also offer so many other options outside of the Caribbean. I do know they offer a South Africa cruise, a Mediterranean cruise, Middle Eastern like Abu Dhabi and Dubai type of cruise, which that is like bucket list. So MSC definitely is a cruise line that you all should look into. I think I've been on their website a number of times since being home. They do have some awesome packages and prices that you can look into depending upon when you are leaving and where you are going. So I definitely will look into that. I think they are very much family friendly. They have tons of things to do for the kids if you are traveling with any young people. They do have a kids area that is for a certain age. They do have like your teen area, and then you have your adult area. So there's things for your kids to do on board. There was like a little I guess it was a soccer field, like a mini soccer field, like a soccer stadium. They had a track on board to run around. They had a gym. So they had tons of things for you to do to keep you busy, to keep your kids busy. I mean, a couple of times I would see the kids come out dressed like pirates. I guess that was the plan for the day. The kids, even when they go to eat, they have a little kids station that only kids can walk through. It's very cute. So it's definitely family friendly. We're into live music. A lot of all their bars had some sort of pianist or some live band or a singer available most of the day. The staff was absolutely amazing. Most of the staff on board were from different countries, which I really loved. The guy that actually was the head of cleaning my particular floor, or at least my area of the boat where I was staying, he's from the Philippines, and all of his staff was from the Philippines. The two waiters that we had, one was Kieran, one name was Ronald. Ronald was from the Philippines. He was so awesome. And then Kieran was from St. Vincent. The cruise director on board was from South Africa. The head of Excursions was a young lady from South Africa. There was just, it was just a cultural experience being on MSC because a lot of the staff is from so many different parts of the world. A lot of people on board were from different parts of the world. The staff represented about 36 to 40 different countries. And I think that is absolutely amazing that you can talk to people from all over it and you can ask them like where they're from and how they end up on board. It was an awesome experience. I highly suggest that you look into MSC Cruises if you're looking for a really good cruise line to go with. If you want to get out of just going to the Caribbean, they have some other options for you to do so. So there you have it, guys. That is my tips and tricks for first time cruising. If you are a veteran cruiser, please leave your ideas, tips, and tricks in the comment section below so that anybody else who is thinking about cruising on their first cruise can check them out. As always, I love you guys. I'm Shannon of thegirlscloset.com. Thank you for watching my videos. If you have not subscribed, you should do so because it's like right down there, and like thumbs is up too while you're at it. Like they're all like right down there, so just go ahead and do it. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. Deuces.